Good news reported from Max Defense that the Philippine Red Cross MV Amazing Grace will soon become the BRP of the Philippine Coast Guard Emilia Gordon. After the Philippine Red Cross handed over the multi-purpose vessel MV Amazing Grace to the Philippine Coast Guard during the official turnover held on January 30, 2025. A momentous event took place in the Philippine Maritime region in an official handover ceremony. The Philippine Red Cross PRC officially handed over the multi-purpose vessel MV Amazing Grace to the Philippine Coast Guard PCG. The ceremony was presided over by PRC Chairman and former Senator Richard Gordon together with PCG Commander Admiral Ronnie Gill. Given this marks a new chapter for the vessel that has seen an incredible journey from an experimental U.S. military vessel to a humanitarian asset and now a potentially important addition to the fleet. But what makes this vessel different from the rest? Let's dive deeper into the MV Amazing Grace. It will be recalled that the MV Amazing Grace was originally an experimental landing ship built for the U.S. Navy using the small waterplane area twin-hull (SWAT) technology combined with barge mode by raising or lowering the midship deck. The ship was also supposed to double as a ferry under the name MV Susitna for Alaskan service. However, this did not pan out due to several factors including maintenance, cost and environmental concerns. With no clear role in the U.S., the ship was put up for sale in 2015. Philippine R Cross acquired the ship for the Philippine Red Cross for $1.75 million United States dollars in 2015, but was rarely used as the PRC did not have sufficient funds to sustain the ship, especially during the COVID times when PRC funds were drained by the organization's huge operating costs for the Philippine community assistance. Under the leadership of Richard Gordon, seeing its potential as a humanitarian asset especially for disaster response, the ship was renamed MV Amazing Grace and became the country's first humanitarian ship capable of transporting large quantities of relief goods, vehicles and personnel to disaster-stricken areas. However, operational challenges soon became apparent. The PRC, despite its best intentions, struggled to maintain the ship. The COVID-19 pandemic further drained the organization's financial resources, making it difficult to sustain the ship's operating costs. As a result, the MV Amazing Grace was rarely used, prompting discussions about transferring the ship to an agency that could better utilize the ship. In addition, the Philippine Red Cross turned over the multi-purpose vessel MV Amazing Grace to the Philippine Coast Guard. With its latest plan, the vessel will be named after Philippine Red Cross chairwoman Richard Gordon. Emilia Nepomuceno Juaco Gordon, who was also a former mayor of Olongapo from 1968 to 1972, and a former assemblywoman of the Batasong Pambansa for Olongapo City, as in member of the Philippine Parliament. She was also a recipient of the Pearl S. Buck International Woman of the Year Award in 2002, only the second Filipina to receive the award for her achievements in civil and humanitarian efforts. The vessel will be used as a logistics and medical support vessel by the PCG, and will be vital during emergencies, while also having the secondary role of flying the Philippine flag in our country's exclusive economic zone, including the West Philippine Sea. It was a God move to transfer the vessel to the PCG, considering that it was then eyed to be purchased by the Philippine Navy for use as a fast inter-island transport due to its high speed compared to most PN logistics and amphibious assault vessels. It remains to be seen whether PCG will rename the ship to BRP Amazing Grace, in keeping with its PRC heritage. It remains to be seen whether PCG will rename the ship to BRP Amazing Grace, in keeping with its PRC heritage. And it remains to be seen what hull number will be assigned to the ship once it is commissioned. The potential decision to transfer the NV Amazing Grace to the Philippine Coast Guard is a logical and strategic move. PCG, unlike the PRC, has the infrastructure, funding and operational capabilities to maintain and effectively use such vessels. PCG has grown rapidly in recent years by acquiring new patrol vessels and enhancing its maritime security and humanitarian response capabilities. With tensions in the Western Philippine Sea and the increasing frequency of natural disasters, the need for a multi-purpose vessel like the MV Amazing Grace has never been more urgent under the Philippine Coast Guard. The MV Amazing Grace can serve multiple roles. 1. Maritime search and rescue. With its high speed and stability due to its SW design, the vessel can be a valuable asset in search and rescue operations. The new role of the MV Amazing Grace under the PCG is a second chance to fulfill its primary purpose of serving the Filipino people, both in times of crisis and in maintaining maritime security. The journey of the MV Amazing Grace is a story of transformation from an experimental U.S. military vessel to a humanitarian asset and now a potential game-changer for the Philippine Coast Guard. The vessel embodies resilience and adaptability. As such, transferring a vessel like the MV Amazing Grace to the Philippine Coast Guard, PCG, is a smart move to ensure that its capabilities are put to good use, which will benefit the country in the future. The handover of the MV Amazing Grace to the Philippine Coast Guard is a positive step in strengthening the frequency of disaster response actions and maintaining safety at sea. With a more reliable ship, the Philippine Coast Guard will be better prepared to face future challenges. Hopefully, the BRP Amelia Gordon can operate well and provide maximum benefits to the community. This news is certainly a new hope for improving maritime safety in the Philippines.